What's up, folks? Welcome back to the channel. Boozer here. Thanks for stopping by. Today we're going to be doing a account review, account tips, takeover style video for Tyler here. He's at level 64. He reached out to me and he said, hey, he needs some help with his account. Just mainly giving him some direction and some progression tips. Of course, the biggest thing we're going to be working on today here is probably one of the biggest things for progression overall, which is going to be a clan boss team suggestion. So anyways, let's jump into this guy's account. So Tyler here, level 64. He's been playing the game since 2000, I believe he said 2020. Let's check out his badge here, 2021. So he's been playing since 2021. So a very old account here, but then obviously not super progressed. He did say he did take many breaks along the way. So you can kind of see here, he is beyond V6. He's going up against Scion here. So he's just past V6, 270 days collected. And yeah, let's quickly go over this guy's account here real quick. So looking at his shard count, he has no shards available. He has the Rosin Fusion still available to him. Akage still available to him. Let's see here. In terms of overall fragments, he has no pullable fragment champions. He's 12 fragments in Mithrala. Definitely needs to be working on Mithrala. Let's see here. Mauled. I mean, Mauled with 7 fragments kind of means that he hasn't been active during fusion events at all. So unless he's been like basically slam dunking, completing all the fusions, this number here means that he hasn't even completed basically events with pieces of fusions to go into Mauled. So unless his roster shows all fusion champions that he's completed, I would assume he's been very inactive during a lot of these events. And we know how often fusions are occurring, so we know he's been mostly an inactive player. So let's quickly go over some of his resources here. Again, nothing here, nothing that he can pull. Soul collection, really not much here. Got lucky with a 5-star Annie, but doubtful he has Annie himself. Quickly check out the Great Hall here. Yeah, for an account from 2021, definitely not much going on here. He's still working on his first level 10 badge. Pretty active. Today is Sunday, so that's the last day of the week. So very active arena player. That's good. That's good to see, actually. In gold 5, very active arena player. You know, not the craziest win rate, but honestly, this shows a lot of effort. So good for him for doing this. He's definitely working on this. So this is good. This is great. He's going to get his level 10 soon. And then after that, you just keep working your other stats. Usually I would go accuracy, since accuracy is like super important for builds to function properly. Whereas crit damage feels like it's kind of like a luxury a lot of the time. Of course, on your damage dealer, it's good. But how many damage dealers really need, insane amounts of crit damage early on? Usually your gear can't really support those types of champions. So usually you lean a little bit harder on like poisoners and HP burn champions, which require accuracy instead of crit damage. For your faction stuff, of course, make sure you don't feed epics. Make sure you use your epics to fill out your faction guardians first. So for example, here you fed 1 Stagnite into your existing Stagnite, which took away 10% HP from him, but I guess you get a little bit of a stat boost. But honestly, work on filling these out instead of feeding off your epics. Here, same thing. Yeah, all these epics, I don't know where they went, but you definitely should not be empowering or feeding them off. You should be building up your faction guardians here. It's actually kind of crazy that you don't have any of the epics filled out. This is actually a first. So yeah, I assume that you've been feeding off the epics. Definitely don't do that. Definitely fill out your faction guardians first, because you get some useful stats here, right? Accuracy, all the stats, and then speed at the end. You get some useful stats that help you build out your champions a little bit easier. Quick look at the training resources here. You got 0 brews, so 0 resources, 0 books. Wait, you got 1 rare book. Oh my goodness. And you got 2 3-star chickens and a 2-star chicken. So basically no resources. Let's check out your potions here. Basically no potions. Oh man, this is a big work in progress here. I mean, you almost have no silver, and you have no gems. You literally have no resources. You have no mystery shards. Okay, so mystery shards, they come, like, you can get mystery shards from campaign. You can get them from the market. So from the market, you should be buying this. Like if you see this, you should buy this. See this, you buy this. the thing is, you're actually going to run out of silver pretty soon here, even just buying these mystery shards. But definitely buy those mystery shards. Yeah, it's just worth it in the long run. Helps you complete fusions, helps you bring food so you can train them up and all that stuff. Yeah. All right, let's take a quick look at the forge here. Forge, we have 5,000 Magi Steel, which is good to see. Let's see overall. Wow, we have nothing here and nothing here. Like when I look at this, this means that no faction wars has been done, basically, because usually if you've been doing faction wars, usually I have a lot of the epic stuff, the purple stuff. Yeah, this looks like dire. This looks pretty dire. The thing is, the forge is really good for silver. So if you don't have any of this stuff, like these materials that you have farmed, you can't generate silver. So you can't generate silver there. No silver. Like, let's see what else you got here. Anything else? So I do see some middle mats for some of these forge passes. So I assume, you know, some money has been spent on the forge passes. Let's see the resources here. You got a little bit of these charms, a little bit of the charms. Okay, a little bit of the charms, here. But probably some crafting has been done. But yeah, okay. Let's take a quick look at the roster and see what we're working with here. Take a quick look. Is this everything? Okay, so there's literally food that's left in the other vaults, I think. Okay, let's see. There's some epics here. Okay, so we got Scylla the Drake. Scylla the Drake's here. She's pretty slow. She has no accuracy. Oh. Yeah, this is not going to work. Scylla the Drake's, like, you got good HP on her, but you got low speed and you have no accuracy. So that means she's not going to be landing her stun or decrease speed here. Decrease speed on 81. AoE stun here. She's not going to be landing any of that beyond dungeon level 10 with that level of accuracy. So you need this to be about 200 plus for you to do anything in the up to level 20. If you're not at 200 plus accuracy, then she's not going to be very effective with her stuns. Good HP overall, but honestly, you could be faster, less HP, higher accuracy. Check out the banner here. Like this could be an accuracy banner. Do you have an accuracy banner? You have this one. It's a 5-star. You have a 6-star Slayer one. Like you could put this on her with, you know, if it hits speed, then that's going to be huge. But this banner is going to be a lot better than this because then she'll actually start landing some debuffs. Actually, the better question is, let's see what your dungeon progression is. Let's not look at the roster yet. Let's look at your dungeon progression. Iron Twins, anything? Level 9. Okay, level 9, that's fine. Keeps all done. Keeps done. Okay, don't worry about keeps. Don't worry about keeps. Minotaur, done. Okay, good. Check out Iron 17 Ice Golem. Let's check out this team. Okay, we'll talk about that in a sec. Spider 20, great. Spider 20 done. Dragon 20 done. Okay, good. Fire Knight 20, 10 minutes, still done. Okay, I kind of see where you're at here. Sand Devil 42 seconds. I mean, that's pretty good. What are you using here? 42 seconds for level 12. Oh, level 12, yeah. Still not too bad. You don't want to focus too much on the Sand Devil right now. Shogun, same idea. You're not going to be focusing too much on the Shogun. Okay. I mean, pretty early game still, right? You're still like dungeon level 20. Judging by your overall progress, you're about that level, dungeon level 20. Now let's go back to the roster and see what kind of stats we are looking for in terms of the champions. So we got Scylla the Drakes here. You got 100 accuracy. That's not going to be enough. If she is used in any kind of dungeon setting, you need her to have 200 accuracy. You need her to be a little bit faster, maybe like 225, 230. You want her to go, you know, as quickly as possible and all that. So otherwise, masteries, I mean, usually I wouldn't take War Master for Scylla the Drakes. Maybe I would take Eagle Eye if you're hurting for accuracy, for example, but I'd take support and defense. Support's good. It gives her an extra chance to get her revive back. If you use Spirit Haste, for example, that would be my choice for her. But yeah, she's still super solid for progression, but not in this build in particular. Amazing. She is +2 already. So I definitely assume that some money has been spent. Usually you don't get 2 extra Seal of the Drakes that easily. So yeah, I mean, unfortunately, I would say the same thing, right? I would also go for Faction Guardians instead of Empowerment, just because Faction Guardians just spread your stats through the entire faction instead of just one champion. And I don't know if you use Seal of the Drakes effectively or in any of your teams. I didn't see her so far. Tomb Lord's a really good champion. He is a little bit hard to build properly. You need him to have 100% crit rate. That's the problem, right? You need him to have 100% crit rate. You need him to have accuracy. You need him to go pretty quick. This build, I mean, 180 speed, no books, Eagle Eye Mastery. Really depends on where you're using him, but not going to be super, super insane. Without the 100% crit rate, he's not going to be able to land his 4 poisons. So he's only landing 2 poisons here. So he's definitely not as effective. But yeah, let's move on. We have King Galkabar here. He's actually a pretty good support champion. Okay speed. He's got crit damage. He's got a little bit of accuracy. No masteries, no books. Okay, so with that accuracy, 170, 180 accuracy, you're trying to land Brimstone. So it really depends on where you're using him. But yeah, 180 accuracy is not going to be good enough for level 20 dungeons. So just keep that in mind. For King Galkabar, you do need a little bit of accuracy, I believe. Yes, the poison and block buffs here. So you're close, you're close. The speed is okay, the accuracy is okay. No masteries, no books kind of sucks though. Like this gives a 4-turn cooldown and this is a 5-turn cooldown, so it's not particularly effective. But let's see where you're putting your actual good stuff, good gear on. Arrow. Really low speed, no crit cap, and then low crit damage. He is in Savage gear, but man, this is not a great build. He does have masteries, and he's partially booked. 1 book with Brimstone. Okay, so keep in mind that with 94 accuracy, he is not landing Brimstone on anything above level 10 dungeons, right? So Brimstone needs accuracy unless you have the 6-star. So you need accuracy unless you have the 6-star. So yeah, Brimstone's not going to be the key to victory here for Arrow. Let's see what else. You have Kreela. Kreela's a good champ. Good champ overall. Can bring some damage. Brimstone. Again, you have 15 accuracy on Kreela. Brimstone's never going to land on her. She's never going to land it. No masteries. No books. Yeah, so this guy. This is going to need... Okay, the fact that you don't have books is a big problem on a lot of these champions. So let's move on. Let's see. Suzanne. Suzanne is your fastest champion so far. No accuracy. 277 speed is your fastest champion so far. No accuracy. No books. Again, no accuracy. You're not landing Brimstone. With her, you're probably going down to Eagle Eye. I mean, the masteries. Accuracy. They're fine. Fine-ish. And then you're going down to Eagle Eye. Yeah, sure. Yeah, you definitely want accuracy on Suzanne. Her A1 block active skill is really good. And then she has the turn meter pushback, right? Yeah, the turn meter pushback is also very strong with the decreased speed. You definitely want the accuracy on her for sure. Okay. So every single champion so far has can use some work. All right. Manaya. 1 book. It's kind of thrown into here. Okay, that's another thing that I want to mention, that in terms of booking a champion, make sure you commit to a champion and then fully book them out instead of just putting books randomly. Then you have a situation where you have champions that are never fully booked, that have wasted books in them that you'll never use again. So this is a situation where you have Manaya, she's soaking up one of your books and she's not even geared out and you're not even using her. Same thing with masteries. Commit to one champion, fully master them out if you want to intend to use them. Yeah, just make sure it's a deliberate, thoughtful decision that you're doing. Because otherwise you have champions like this where they're partially mastered and you don't use them anymore, and it's just sunk resources, right? And you're not really in a position where you can sink resources, so you have to be a little bit more mindful about where you put them. Okay, so moving on next, Stultus. Stultus is a good champ, not booked. Not booked with Brimstone, not mastered, like partially mastered and not geared out. Good champ, but obviously not geared out. Ninja. Okay, Ninja is somebody that is very important for everybody. Fully booked, love to see it. Fully mastered, perfect. Gear and build looks fine. It looks fine. To be honest, this is your best built champion so far. Speed, reasonable. Accuracy, good. Has a little bit of attack, reasonable HP. Of course, the blessing helps. Brimstone is the correct blessing for him. Fully booked. No books here, kind of sucks. No books here, kind of sucks. This is what I would be throwing the next 2 books in. Getting this cooldown down. So basically, once this cooldown comes down, then you have more of this. And then he deals more damage overall. Masteries, yeah, it looks fine to me. Masteries look fine. Maybe get rid of this. I mean, you're not going to pay to get rid of this, but I might have taken Sniper over this. Just get more decreased defense instead of getting more damage from him killing stuff. It's not necessarily that he'll kill stuff. But yeah, your best built champion so far. All right, let's move on to the Trunda here. Trunda looks like your best built damage dealer, like just straight damage dealer so far. Reasonable speed. Your best crit damage and actually crit capped. So 100% crit cap is what you're looking for with decent attack. So Trunda looks like your best built champion in terms of pure DPS. So she doesn't have any like ignore defense sets. So you're just using broken sets here, which is perfectly fine. And she has your first relic here. So relic, yeah, I mean, just for some extra attack stat, it's totally fine. Not fully booked. Not fully booked. So you're missing 10% damage on her big hit here. You definitely want that. This one you maybe can live without, but you definitely want the damage here. Like basically the last book is equal to the first 2 books, right? So you definitely want that last bit of damage there. Masteries, fully mastered. Love to see it. Good. Helm Smasher, that's the good choice. So otherwise, she is built very decently. Okay, so good. Moving on, Wukong should be one of your top champions on your account. Unfortunately, not booked, not mastered. So not any immediate help. Visix should be a dungeon carry as well. Not booked, not mastered. So she's going to be sitting out as well. Elva. Okay, she is geared out. What is she geared out in? Random pieces. Okay, random pieces. Check out her build here. She should be relatively easy to build, right? Because she doesn't need accuracy. No accuracy or speed is okay. HP is okay. Blessings, no blessings. Masteries. War Master, probably not the one that I would pick for Elva. For Elva, I would go with defense and support, and then I would end up with timely intervention. Increase the champion's turn meter by 20% when an ally hero drops below 25%. So basically, she comes in when your teammate gets low, and then she gets a chance to maybe revive or set up a revive, or maybe place her veil, for example, or cleanse off. You know, all that kind of stuff, right? Timely intervention is where you want to end off with the support. Not really War Master here, in my opinion, but she would probably be a top support on this account. So having her mastered is a good thing. It's going to get some investment back, but you need some books on her to make her super, super useful, especially on this revive here. A 5-turn single target revive is not going to do anybody any favors, so need some help for that one. Biggin. Not mastered, not booked. That's fine. I wouldn't use Biggin considering that you have other higher priorities here. Kyoku, partially booked. So another situation here where you have partial books, 2 books here, just kind of chilling out. You have her built. She's not particularly built well. No accuracy. She does land decreased attack, HP burn. You know, and a weaken on an A1 without accuracy. She can't do any of that. And you already invested masteries in her as well. Not sure Giant Slayer is going to be the pick for me. I would have probably taken War Master here. But yeah, I mean, Kyoka is going to be a big help for a clan boss if we can get her up to speed. But right now she's pretty far away. And I don't even know if she's going to be like a top priority for this account. Okay. judging by this account has spent some money in this account, right? And then I've asked Tyler how much money he's spent. He said about 750. Considering that the account is, pretty old and he took long breaks and all that stuff, 750 over a duration of many years is not actually a lot of money. But when you look at the account, you can kind of see that a lot of the money just hasn't really materialized into much. Like, it gave him a couple extra champions. You can kind of see here, you got 3 Silver Drakes, 1 is free, and then you got 2 from pulls. So obviously he's pulled a lot of non-void shards, right? Or mythical shard, or primal shards, or whatever. We can also see he has a Suzanne here. He also has a Yumiko here as well. So he's pulled a bunch of void shards as well. So his money most likely went into shards, right? And then probably some forge passes, because then we see like righteous set, bolster set, and all that stuff, which is totally fine, right? But now we're seeing the issue where none of the champions are really built out. Like, they don't have any books, they don't have any masteries, and they're not really living up to their full potential. All right, so what we want to do is create some kind of game plan for him so that he can focus in his resources, so that he can actually build out some champions and, progress his account. And I think this applies to a lot of people, right? A lot of people probably get stuck in this situation where they want to spend money on shards, because shards is the most exciting thing in this game. Afterwards, you don't really care about building them out, or, your leftover resources. You just kind of haphazardly spend them on whatever, and then just use whatever throughout your all your runs. That's fine if you just want to play it casually, but once you start, looking to optimize things, then you can see the gaping, gaps in a lot of the development of your champions, right? Like, for example, Tyler here, the only champion that is really fully built out is Ninja. He's fully booked minus these 2, and then he has full masteries. There's not many champions on his roster that he uses that are like this. Trunda's missing 2 books, but has full masteries. So it's Trunda and Ninja. And, you can put Trunda on a lot of dungeon teams. You can put Ninja on your dungeon team, clan boss team. So he's going to be there. But the other thing for a account like this that's still developing into Ultra Nightmare, still not at Ultra Nightmare levels, is that you probably lean really hard on your epics, because they're just cheaper to build, right? So although legendaries are very nice, like, for example, like a champion like Suzanne, she's really nice champion for a late game when you have resources to build her out and stuff. But in the early game, how do you divert resources, towards things like her books and masteries and all that stuff, where she's kind of not super strong? Like if you put her in a dungeon team, she gives your nuker the first shot. So what? Your nuker's not going to nuke down the enemy wave, right? Because your nuker's still in mid-game, early game gear. So a champion like her is just not like the best champion where you should prioritize all your resources in, for example. A champion like Ninja is a good champion to divert all your resources in, because he's used everywhere against, like, for basically boss killing, right? You can also use him in arena as well. He does have serviceable damage there as well. But anyways, let's lean into his epics a little bit and see what we're working with here. None of his supports are really developed properly. Like, you have still the Drakes here who's like partially booked, but like, honestly, you really need some of these books to fully land in this stuff, right? Like the debuff, and like, obviously has no accuracy to do any of this stuff. So none of his supports are really built out. Like, you would have really liked to see Elva fully booked. If Elva was fully booked, she's a really strong support, but without the books, she's got a 5-turn single target revive. It's not going to be, super useful. Anyways, again, let's talk about the epics here real quick. So we got Stag Knight here. Stag Knight can be, the foundation for a lot of dungeon teams as well. It's got the A1 decreased speed, and it's not fully booked. So a champion like, the epics, I have to expect him to be able to book these out after, X amount of years of playing this game, right? But, unfortunately, he has not been able to book out the Stag Knight, so you can't really use him. Stag Knight suffers from 95% syndrome or whatever. Look at this. His 100%, he doesn't have a 100% chance of placing decreased defense, by the way. I know some people maybe forget this or oversee this or kind of expect it and it's not here, but he only has a 95% chance of placing decreased defense, so it's super stupid. He needs full masteries, and you need him to have this sniper to get the last 5% so you can land it 100% of the time. If you don't have that, it's only going to be a 95% chance. But yeah, he's not fully booked, so you can't really use him anyways with any kind of consistency. Again, the comment about the empowerment: don't empower and feed your epics and legendaries until you are basically finished your faction guardians. But yeah, this is just something, what's done is done, so we have to move forward and just make sure you do that going forward. I see Geomancer here. Geomancer is incredible champion. Obviously, you love to see him when you're struggling through the game. Hopefully, Geomancer is going to be helpful here. Looking at his stats, good speed, good HP, good accuracy. This is a good build for Geomancer. He's in Bolster, which is a little bit of an odd choice. I wouldn't put him in Bolster because his base HP is so low. You want your Bolster champion to have big base HP so you can build that champion with super high HP so your Bolster shield can be much larger. Putting a Bolster shield on a Geomancer, you're just giving up tons and tons of stats. So you definitely don't want to do that. So overall, a good build for Geomancer in terms of stats. So good speed, good accuracy, good defense, good HP. But I would change up the set so you can put the set on a more useful champion that maybe uses it a little bit, more effectively with higher base HP. Moving on, we got a relic here placed on him, receives less damage. That's fine. In terms of books, fully booked, perfect. All right, so Geomancer is another very, very important champion. Fully booked with a good build. It's good to see. Incinerate's probably not going to be the best blessing for him, considering that it only works in Arena and you don't use Geomancer in Arena. So I would probably change this up to Cruelty, because he does have a area attack A1, so his A1 attacks everybody, so it's really easy to apply the Cruelty for Geomancer, so that's an easy win for him. Mastery is perfect. Yeah, perfect. War Master, perfect. Good champion, good build. Love to see it. All right, let's move on a little bit here. So another arena damage deal. I'm not going to pay too much attention to these tier 2, tier 3 damage dealers. So Gembo's here. Mordecai, again, looks like a fine build. Not booked, not fully mastered. So he has to be fully booked to be fully useful, but quick look at the build, looks fine. 190 speed, 300 accuracy, bit low on the stats for HP, but it's not fully built out champion or anything like that. Taragi, another very important champion, especially if you want to focus on clan boss. Taragi, I would definitely consider putting on the clan boss team here if I wanted to build one from scratch for Tyler here. Looking at his build, not fast enough probably for most content that he's at. Like I said, level 20 dungeons. You're looking for about at least 170 speed for level 20 dungeons, preferably closer to 200 or even over 200. Total accuracy is not going to be enough for the dungeons. In terms of accuracy for clan boss, 150 accuracy is probably enough for maybe like brutal clan boss, but he's already hitting nightmare clan boss, he told me, and he wants to go towards ultra nightmare clan boss. So you definitely need a little bit more stats there. Ultra Nightmare Clan Boss, you're looking at about 225 accuracy. So that's what you want to shoot for. And then the Ultra Nightmare Clan Boss is actually at 190 speed. So just some, rough benchmarks to kind of expect to aim for. In terms of books, fully booked, love to see it. So that means Taragi is a pretty strong candidate to land in a Clan Boss team. Not fully master, unfortunately, so that's going to hurt your Clan Boss damage a bit. You definitely want War Master and Taragi just to help out with the damage. And you also want Master Hexer here, so you can get increased duration on his poisons. But yeah, Taragi's going to be a top tier choice for Clan Boss. Ugo here, important champion, AoE decreased defense. Looks like a decent build, a little bit slow. Like I said, I would aim him to be faster than most of your champions, so maybe like 220 speed. Accuracy is a little bit high for the content that you're tackling. Not fully booked. That's really bad to see. She takes a lot of books. She takes a lot of books, and she also suffers from 95% syndrome here. If you look at this, the chance of her placing block buffs increases by 5% for each alive enemy. So you might notice that in some pieces of content, you only fight 4 enemies. So that's only 20% boost for her block buff chance. So she has a 75 native chance. She has a 50% native chance plus 25% boost. So that puts her at 75. And then if you only have 4 enemies, that's plus 20. So that puts you at 95. So again, she suffers from 95% syndrome. You're going to be looking to add Sniper to make sure she hits that 100% in basically all content. But honestly, she might not even be the champion that we want to prioritize right now. Let's move on. We got Frozen Banshee here. Looks like a serviceable build, decent speed, good accuracy, fully booked. Phantom Touch, perfect. Perfect build. Perfect build. Let's go. Perfect build. Yeah, this build looks great. I don't know about this, but it looks like a very good build. Yeah, yeah, I mean, she's not crazy hard to build, and she is relatively useful against some bosses, particularly Dragon in the beginning, and Clan Boss. So she might be able to squeeze into some teams. You do have a Cold Heart here, which is really nice. This build is just not going to be. It's not the build that we want to see here. No accuracy. The turn meter drop on Cold Heart's really good in the early game, especially against Spider, for example. This is not going to work. 67 accuracy. Her super low speed as well is not going to work as well. Fully booked. Good to see. No masteries. Yeah, so there's a lot of work that needs to be done here. There's a lot of champions to go through. Just going to see highlights here. Allure is one of the ones that you probably need to build this out eventually. Having her is a big plus because she's going to be really helpful in stages like Fire Knight, for example, Dark Fae, for example. But yeah, she's going to be really good there. Secret could be useful in potentially a Clan Boss team, but honestly, I think any kind of crazy specific Clan Boss tune is kind of out of the picture for you right now. Ultra Nightmare might be out of reach, to be honest. We need to create a team that kind of makes sense, and then you need to have the gear to do so. I'm pretty sure you do have have the champions to make the Clan Boss team. Like, for example, Taragi. You could use Geomancer or Ninja. Both of them will work. Geomancer might just be easier to kind of slot in and move, whereas Ninja might have a harder time because if his turn meter boost on his A1 can kind of complicate things. Also, using them together might be a little bit difficult unless they're speed tuned, for example. After that, I mean, Kyoku would have been one that I was thinking about putting in, just because she does have ally protection, which can help you out. She also has decreased attack to help out Taragi. But what you're looking for is kind of like an increased defense champion. You don't really have that. Let's just quickly go over if he actually does have a increased defense champion here. Can't play Saltis. Elvas is on the revive, the increased defense. Kyoku is on hit, right? If she gets hit, yeah, it's her passive. Yeah, if she gets crit, then you get increased defense. Same thing with the Seeker here, that's not going to work. Atheist, I mean, you even have a mythical champion already, but he's not fully booked. It's going to be really hard to use this guy. How do we use this guy? Let's see. Yeah, I mean, this is a really strong ability, right? Increase and strengthen, really strong, especially for Clan Boss, if that was the goal. But he's not booked. He's not anywhere close to being, viable right now. It's going to be really hard to use this guy. And honestly, his second form is just not particularly good for Clan Boss, other than just this ability. So I think we're kind of out of the picture here. I mean, Vergus can be pretty good in Clan Boss as well. Some self-buffing here with the ally protection, increased defense, but yeah, so it doesn't look like you have a reliable increased defense champion, which is going to make basically advancing to Ultra Nightmare very difficult. Let's take a quick look at the Clan Boss team first and see what you're actually working with here. You said two key Nightmare team. Yep, 2 key Nightmare with this team. Taragi, Geomancer, Elva, Seal the Drakes, and Frozen Banshee. So yes, I would agree with all of this except for Seal the Drakes. I mean, if you have Seal the Drakes here purely just for healing, because that's basically all she's doing. Her A1 doesn't land decreased speed against the Clan Boss. Her stun doesn't land against the Clan Boss. So she's mainly here for healing. I would think of another champion to put instead of her. You have Taragi carrying the heavy load for the ally protection and shield. You have a revive here with the plus speed. And then you have Seal the Drakes basically just getting carried around here. So instead of her, I would definitely put somebody else. If you wanted a quick upgrade over Seal the Drakes, I would probably put Kyoku. Even without books, she can probably be pretty useful, because every time she gets hit or crit hit, she heals everybody and then places increased defense. So that way your team will survive longer, and your team will still get the healing that you probably would have gotten from Seal the Drakes. Unfortunately, it's going to be, like a 6-turn cooldown on this. But she does bring ally protection as well, which is very good. She does bring an extra backup decrease attack. Keep in mind she needs accuracy to land the decreased attack. And she also brings a weaken here too. I mean, you were running Geomancer with the weekend, so it's not going to be super helpful. But maybe she's going to be an upgrade or a decent replacement for Scylla Drakes, just for an easy replacement that you can try out. The other champion that's going to be pretty good in the spot where Scylla Drakes is Volgoth. So Volgoth, not fully booked or anything, but you don't really need him to be fully booked. You just need him to get hit. So he needs lots of HP. You just need him to get hit. He's going to heal up your team. If you give him accuracy, he's going to land Leech. Leech is going to basically give your whole team healing, which is a big deal. And he does have decreased attack as well. So you can make him with accuracy land decreased attack, which is going to help out Taragi as well. So I think Volgoth is actually a pretty budget replacement for Scylla Drakes in your clan boss team. I'm not saying with Volgoth you're going to go from 2 key into a 1 key, because you're barely scraping by on the 2 key. You're getting 42 million on 2 key for Nightmare. I'm not saying that Volgoth's going to double your damage, but he's probably going to make it a little bit more safer, a little bit more consistent. And I think, honestly, for a quick kind of upgrade, it would be Volgoth, would be my opinion, instead of Kyoku. Again, no books needed for Volgoth. Just has to be tanky, has to have, you know, good survivability and all that, and accuracy to land the Leech debuff on the passive. The biggest issue here stopping you from going Ultra Nightmare clan boss is probably increased defense. Without a full-time increased defense, it's going to be really hard to make a team that's going to stand up to Ultra Nightmare. The other issue is books. You don't have books on a lot of your champions, especially the key ones. So Elva Autumnborn here, she doesn't have books on her cleanse ability, which makes it very difficult for her to be in clan boss. You can't really speed tune that, of course. Otherwise, you don't really have any other way to make a team that basically handles stuns, makes it handle affinities and all that. You don't have another cleanser on your team. You don't have like a Doom Priest or something. So it's really difficult to make an Ultra Nightmare clan boss team that's going to be consistent. You have the damage dealers. You have Ninja, you have Geomancer. These are great damage dealers. Even Taragi is a great carry for Ultra Nightmare as well. But, you know, we're talking like, you know, really good gear here, right? We might be talking like specialized gear. You're talking a killable team, not a unkillable team, which requires generally better gear and more kind of, you know, role a champion. So you need increased defense, you need decreased attack, you need decreased defense, you need the weaken, you need poison, shields, you know, ally protection, strength, and all that stuff to keep your guys alive, and you need to deal damage. So it's gonna be tough, right? So you just gotta set expectations properly. 2 key Nightmare for this account, I think, is fair. We can probably maybe stretch it to, you know, 30 million a key if your team stays alive a little bit, but you need a little bit something different to push your account to the next level in terms of clan boss. So just running through the optimizer here a little bit, kind of like to see how you do with the fastest champion that you can possibly field on your account. So just going through the optimizer here, and we got Suzin here with basically a 296 top speed. So that's going to be one of your fastest champions that you can basically create on your account. I saw that your Suzin was kind of not close to that. Your Suzin was like 260 something. So, okay, so 277. So you're giving up about 20 speed. I don't know if you did that on purpose or if you knew that, but your Suzin has an extra 20 speed available to her if you so choose so. Alrighty, so running through the optimizer for his Trunda, I assume is his, you know, most favored DPS champion. We actually have, you know, 176 speed Trunda here with 248 crit damage, and it's going to be built in Savage gear. So basically, you do have the ability to build this level of nuker, right? So you can build a full Savage Trunda with respectable speed and respectable crit damage, and she's going to be pretty good. I mean, if you look at this build, it's actually perfectly good, especially for a mid-game account. I know, personally speaking, when I was hitting Dungeon 20, I didn't even have an ignore defense set yet. It took me a long time to get a usable set that was better than just mismatched pieces. So this is actually a really good build here for Savage gear. So make sure you check this out, Tyler. If you haven't done so, use the optimizer. Try to find the best build for your Trunda, because your arrow right now is using your Savage gear, and your arrow's like geared pretty not so good, to put it lightly. So, and Trunda's, you know, she's built out, she's developed, she has books and masteries. So just put your best gear on Trunda. Don't spread your gear out on like lesser champions and try to use those champions. Build your best with your best. As for Geomancer, like I said, Geomancer is a perfectly fine build in terms of stats. I would allocate his set towards somebody else. Somebody else with maybe much higher base crit, base HP, sorry. Even somebody like Scylla Drake. Scylla Drakes could be very useful with her. But Scylla Drakes does have built-in healing, so she doesn't really necessarily need like the bolster healing. So you could put it on somebody else. Maybe, I'm not sure how much you use Galkabar. Galkabar is 21k HP, so a big bolster set on him would be useful. Whoever you use in the arena, bolster set could be useful there as well. I'm not too sure who you're using for offense. Doesn't look like you're using anybody that would benefit from a bolster set. Yeah, it looks like you're going for speed with the Suzanne. But like I said, the Suzanne can be 296, so maybe look into that. I would probably recommend building out Wukong, but it does seem like your main priority here is probably to figure out something for Clan Boss, but it's really tough because you don't want to build something for Clan Boss that's not going to work and then kind of get stuck and then try to rebuild it again and again and then reinvest books into champions that you're not going to use. So it's really, really tough. So I want you to basically have a very clear idea of your Clan Boss situation before you jump into building anything for Ultra Nightmare. Right now, I don't think you have enough for that to happen. You need more masteries. You need more books. Specifically, I would probably look to book out Elva as your main support champion. She's just clearly your best support champion, like that actually, supports, other than like Suzanne, which is your speed lead and all that stuff. But she is a reviver, a cleanser. She's just a general very good support. Also, you can put a bolster set on her. That would be pretty annoying, making her quite tanky. She doesn't have like crazy base HP or anything like that, but the bolster set on her could make her really, really annoying. And with her speed aura and stuff, she can be your speed lead in arena or like defense or anything like that as well. And I would highly recommend you jump into Hydra and try to do something. I don't know where you're at in terms of your overall damage. So you're doing 2 key normal. I would highly recommend trying your best to get the 6.66 million chest. So I would definitely work towards that because Mithrala, once you get her, is massive. It's going to be massive. She can be your second cleanser. She can work on Clan Boss. She can work on dungeons. She can work in arena. She's going to be massive, right? So just prepare for that. You got to grind her out. I mean, you're very far away from her, but she definitely needs to be top priority. After that, of course, obviously work on things like Doom Tower, get as high as you can in, where are you? You're in normal difficulty. In hard difficulty, you want to go as high as you can as well. Don't stop. Don't just not try hard, but definitely try it. You might be able to squeeze out a couple levels. Cursed City, same idea. You want to go as far as you can in all that content. Looks like you're working on hard. That's fine, but also don't forget normal. You'll probably end up doing way more normal. So what I would do first is probably do normal until you get super hard stuck and then switch over to hard. Okay, so make sure you spend your keys every day to do that. Siege, get whatever you can. It's not a big deal at your levels to do that. Faction Wars. Now this is a big one. You have to make sure that you do your Faction Wars as much as you can whenever you can, because they give you very, very important resources, mainly the mats, to build the resilience and perception set. Resilience, not super strong, but you could get a nice piece here and there just to use as an off piece. But perception is super strong, since basically 9 out of 10 of your champions that require accuracy don't have proper accuracy. So you need accuracy on your champions. And this is kind of why I say Great Hall for accuracy in the beginning, just because now you just alleviate some of that stress from your gear. But perception gear is supposed to help you out with those extra accuracy stats, but you only get those materials from, Faction Wars. So make sure you do as much as you can whenever you can. I know your roster is like obviously going to be pretty spread out throughout all the factions, but you just need to do whatever you can. So overall, you just really have to, sit down. You just have to grind out the game for a little bit. Your account has very low resources all across the board. So you don't have any gems, you don't have any silver, you don't have any mats, you don't have any shards, you don't have any books, chickens. You don't have any resources, right? So at this point, you can't really go about building a new team. For example, a new Clan Boss team. You can't really just jump into it, because you have to be prepared to dismantle a bunch of champions and then level up a bunch of gear and then glyph up a bunch of stuff. And if that doesn't work, you have to be prepared to basically re-gear a team that works as good as your previous team did. Otherwise, you're not going to be able to farm any Clan Boss stuff. So I can see here that you have no gear. You have 31 pieces of gear. I don't know what happened here, but but you literally have no pieces of gear in your account, which is kind of scary because you have no crafting materials in your account. So you literally so you have to farm some dungeons, right? You have to play the game, farm some dungeons. That way you can accumulate some silver, accumulate some gear. After you accumulate gear, you have to roll up your gear, which requires silver. So you see where it's going, right? Like you don't have gems. You need a lot of resources to grind out here. At this point in the game, what I would say for basically the next month or two is basically focus on what you have right now. What you have right now is a 2-key nightmare team. You have a gold 5, a reasonable gold 5, team with, a very good amount of games played in arena. That's good. Those are like free medals, and that's going towards your Great Hall and all that stuff. Make sure you use your Great Hall upgrades during CVC so you can get some more value there. But that's good. So you have a workable arena team. You have workable dungeon teams. So this is important. Use those teams, grind whatever you can so far. Conserve your resources. Conserve them until you can use them properly. You don't want to be leveling up gear to 8 or 12 and then swapping gear back and forth. Use only the champions that you are for sure going to use. Don't spend books. Don't spend those resources willy-nilly on like sub champions. Use them on your best champions only. Like I said, finish Ninja, finish Trunda, probably work on Elva. Although Elva is going to take you a bunch of books as well. If you got epic books, build out Stagnite. He's pretty solid for the AoE decreased defense. You could build out Ugo as well. You're going to get lots of value from these two epics throughout the entire lifetime of the game, so you don't have to worry about that. But yeah, like I said, it's going to take you like, a month, 2 months, 3 months, depending how seriously you play this game. But you're going to have to focus on what you have instead of reaching for what you cannot achieve right now. And then, yeah, you don't have any glyphs. So if we're going to build an Ultra Nightmare team, we're going to need to speed tune it and all that stuff. You don't have any speed glyphs. This would be near impossible to build a Ultra Nightmare team with exactly the pieces that you have here with no speed glyphs and no silver. It'd just be near impossible. So with that being said, hopefully this video would help you, Tyler, give you a little bit of advice, give you a little bit of an update or a state or a status update on your entire account, where it stands, what's going right, what's going wrong, where you can go moving forward, and what you need to do. All right, all the best to you, man. Thank you so much for letting me jump on your account and giving it a once over here. Like I said, lots of things to work on. Hopefully this advice has been useful to you guys, and hopefully to the viewers out there, hopefully this was useful to you guys and was entertaining as well. Appreciate everybody's time for watching the video. Hopefully you guys have a great day. Let me know what you guys think about everything. Let me know what you guys think about Tyler's account, about the advice given here in the comments below. Appreciate your thoughts as always. Have a great day, and I'll see you guys in the next one.